Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and my non-binary friends. My name is SpecWar, your host with the most burning itch to partake in the hack and slash genre. I like fast games. I like games with replayability and build diversity. It really keeps you on the edge of your seat every time you make a new build. I like games like Mortal Sin, Devil May Cry, and Ninja Gaiden 4. But what if I told you there's a game that gives you the close-up gore galore of Ultra Kill while being a hack and slash with enough build diversity to drop your jaw on a first look? If you like the sound of that, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. But without further ado, let me introduce you to my new solo dev addiction, VOIN. This game starts you off as a knight on a mission. You have nothing to do but to grab your sword and proceed to walk through your first labyrinth. You have controls that pop up on your side of your screen that are pretty, standard. All things considered, you have your attacks and your movement. Hitting a parry gives you access to a super buffed lightning hit. And it's also guaranteed to send targets that are in front of you staggering backwards, keeping you safe at all times. You like fall damage in video games? Me neither, which is great, because this game lets you get payback on those on the ground when you fall and you crash with a huge lightning strike. You can also dodge to avoid getting hit when enemies highlight yellow, giving you the option of either buffing your next hit or just avoiding the attack and repositioning. While you fight, there is also the chance for different things to drop. Things like weapons, gear, and different runes to elevate your gameplay. For instance, we just unlocked the Bloody Ring, which makes it so that whenever we get hit and we need to heal, we get more healing back, but every 10 hits will do less damage overall. Some of these items have drawbacks that are very obvious and will just allow you to play in whatever way you feel like. If you see down below, I haven't equipped the ring yet, but every time you do damage, even more so with a heavy attack, you get some of your life force back. Also, there's a kick that gets buffed up by your parry surge. Pressing the R button also allows you to enter a traversal state, which the game will tell us about here in a second, which gives you heightened mobility, the ability to jump dash, and to reach higher elevations than you would be able to with your sword drawn. For instance, I could look up, and if I want to get back on that ledge, I can do a jump or two and see this first chest the game has to offer. And you can find gear for every slot you see here. You've got artifacts, or you've got stuff up here, like the tibia that we just got, which gives you power cooldown reduction that you can also take later and upgrade for higher returns. For now, we're going to keep that equipped and move on. I love just fucking power bombing in the middle of all of them. That feels so good. And see there, we just got two new weapons in an upgrade to our... 3 new weapons in an upgrade to our sword. There are tons of different weapons. You have things like great swords, straight swords, hammers, daggers, axes, dual-wielding weapons. You have katanas. There are so many different weapons that all have unique effects. If you take a look, this barbarian blade, while in combat, you gain rage meter. And once you max out that meter, you get more damage, attack speed, and crit power. The Crusher is a weapon that I will be using for a little bit, and what it does, as you can see, is it gives you guaranteed crits on the 6 hits of your combos, which do more damage and make the enemy take more damage for 6 seconds. Every item has its own set skills that you can use and mix and match once you exit the tutorial area, which I will show you in a moment, once we get out of here. And this is our first rune. Runes are really interesting. There are currently 8 of them in the game right now, and they all change how your combat works in different interesting ways. The starting one will make it so that your 4th hit will chain lightning between targets, and this chain lightning goes a far distance. The combat alone and some of the enemy variety and the different weapons are just the beginning of how wonderful this game is. And remember, this is a solo dev project, which only gets better from here. And now, as you see, we've hit level 3, and down there we have access to powers. These powers elevate your gameplay and give you more options. Weapon types do have different powers, which you can see by pressing the R button hovering over a weapon. Like, for instance, swords will begin with a runic infusion, which will make you hit faster and chain lightning on every hit. Ow. I forgot that I'm not paused in that. Go home. And most powers are shared between weapon types. Like here, the starting sword as well as the barbarian blade both gain access to this runic infusion, just giving you that little extra edge in combat that, even though you might not need it, does help out in certain situations. And there's my weapon's passive as I've entered this berserk state, looking for things to hit to keep me in this state for longer. You even get other weapons like the Heartseeker Dagger, which has the special ability of critting on a guaranteed, or getting a guaranteed crit on a heavy attack once you let go when the screen flashes. Daggers also having unique powers even in their own group. The Heartseeker's first ability is Twin Fang Frenzy, which does allow rapid hits of stuff in front of you. However, elemental weapons do have different skills in comparison to their non-elemental variants, which I will hopefully show you here in a little bit. Fun fact about these attacks is when you get the crit, if you have a double hit like the daggers starting heavy, both hits get crits. You didn't get to see that there because they both got eviscerated, but you'll just have to believe me. And believe me, there are hidden chests everywhere you could possibly imagine, with loot that sits just barely out of reach that you will miss if you don't pay attention. But here's our first big fight, an elite enemy, which will pop up more as you progress through the game. You take down the boss after a little bit of effort, you then gain access to the hub world. The hub world being Emerict. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm going to decide that's how you pronounce it. Which opens up into 3 different paths. You have the Forge, you have the Tree of Talents, and you have the mission board. Before we get switched over to my current save, let me take you into the cathedral so I can show you how the crafting works. There is no actual weapon crafting currently, however, there is the improving, which you can do with all of your weapons. Now, there are 2 different types of improvement. You have the augmentation and the exaltation. The exaltation is leveling up the level of your weapon to allow its passive effects to be more effective, including the effects from other augments. You heard me right, other augments. If you go into the Augments tab, you will see all of the weapons that you have unlocked. There's a couple of them that aren't in the game yet, like I believe this weapon, if I'm remembering just from memory, And a couple other ones up here are not quite in the game. As you can see, they have like a shared design. So the game is still very early in its development cycle, but I mean, just imagine you have this dagger, but while you're in combat using the dagger, you can get bonus attack damage, attack speed, and crit power on a weapon with guaranteed crits. Or even better, you can do something like cleave. Do you like playing games like Vermintide and Darktide, where you specialize in cleaving through hordes easier? This weapon can help you make any weapon do that, not just it. This customization is not limited to just your weapons. Hearts, what dictates your healing and how it works, also have these same augment systems. I'll show you a little bit of my current build. I'm not max level or anything yet. I'm still running through the game, trying to get as high level as I can before the next update comes out, which the update schedule is a little behind, but they are trying their best to make sure that this game can be perfect and be as fun as humanly possible. Your hearts, they all get the access to, like, you get revitalized whenever you get hit, and revitalize makes it so that you auto heal some of your lost heart charges. Or you have the contrasting affinity, where the more hearts you lose, the more fire and cold damage you do on every hit. Like I said earlier, there are elemental weapons, which we'll see more in just a second. Again, every slot, even up here, I could have tibia for more cooldowns, and I could have this goblet to give me more weapon XP. I got none of these, but you'll see that in a second. I have a necklace that makes it so when I do cold damage, it occasionally will make these ice pillars that make them do more damage, and it also gives me the ability, I believe, that when I hit a runic infusion, like with the swords, enemies around me have their lightning negation heavily reduced. Going over now to the other side of the hub world, you get to the vestibule, which is the Hall of Reflection. And once you acquire these soul fruits, which, I mean, look at how many pages there are, that you just find them naturally in the wild, you can give yourself intrinsic buffs, no items needed, that stick with you for the entirety of your play session. These fruits do not have to be reacquired, anything like that. If you acquire more, they actually get more effective. Lastly, we have the mission center. If you come over here to the sky node, you can actually teleport to it if you stand next to one, as long as another node is in your line of sight from the orb. That becomes important later as you progress through the stages. Here, you select whatever stage you want to go to, the starting one being the Cathedral of Veiled Lament, and entering through here, you actually get to start your session. And the best part about it is the experience is entirely customizable up to your liking. Before you hop into the teleporter, you can go over here to the difficulty modifiers. Now, we've moved over to my save so that I can demonstrate this properly. But essentially, you can change exactly how much HP enemies have, you can change how many enemies spawn in per cluster, and you can also change the elite spawn rates as well. Now, the build I have on my current save is very good at AoE clearing a lot of these hordes, so it specializes in probably clearing out the first two maps, being the Cathedral of Veiled Lament and the White Mountain Citadel. But once you have your map selected, you are more than welcome to hop through here and get stuff started. You spawn off in you spawn off in the main location of each map. And typically, at the beginning of spawn, there's always a sky node nearby. As you can see, I have a sky node activated in a few different regions around the map because of exploration. It's super important that you take the time to explore these areas because of the secrets that lay hidden and the things that you can find. And now that we moved over to my save, I can show you a little bit more of exactly how crazy the customizing can get. This weapon called the Shatterflesh, which is a hidden weapon in the third area. The Shatterflesh has a perfect impact. Striking after a dash deals more damage, which is doubled on a perfect dash and applies freezing. Perpetual Blizzard, the passive effect of a story progression weapon called the Winter's Heart. Spending energy makes it so that it summons a blizzard which does AoE cold damage and gives you Obscured. Obscured making it so that you have a 50% chance to not take damage. I mean, look at all of this explanation that this this gives you. It's everything you need to know of every weapon. But you know what? We're not just here for the customization. We're here for combat. So, let me show you what some of the more crazy combat can look like. And I forgot to mention, the more you level up, the more access to powers you get. Every weapon getting their respectful 3 once you hit level 10, I believe. The Runic Infusion, the Vortex throwing the special swords in, and the Lightning Sting, which allows you to do an aerial slam attack with your swords. And there are some weapons that don't share a weapon class that have skills that benefit different classes. For instance, there's a knife down here. No, it's these twin blades. These twin blades make it so that when you use a vortex power, it summons a fire tornado. Daggers do not get access to a vortex skill. Which, you know, you sit there and you think for a second, well, why does it have that skill then? Because you can take that skill and put it on a sword that can properly use it. That's kind of where the magic is. You find these cute interactions between different weapons. Like I have this hammer, which is from a boss fight, where spending energy summons an explosion underneath the target. And I can also just say, you know what? I also want it to poison. And after a certain amount of poison damage, I want it to explode. Or we double down on the fire damage. We take the Ashmaker's Flame-Forged Strikes just to make sure that every swing not only does fire damage, but applies bonus fire stacks for damage over time. Or, let's go a step beyond that maybe. The Red Steel Broadsword, a sword with the Rage mechanic that also gives your weapon physical damage, fire attack speed, and fire damage for 10 seconds, which is really fun. Because the Red Steel Broadsword is an example of one of those weapons that have different powers in comparison to the rest of the weapon class. If we press R, you'll see the first attack that you get is a Scorching Sweep, which goes into a Flaming Skewer, which then gives you a special Flourish Strike, which I will demonstrate for you while we're looking at it. Sorry, I just noticed I started losing Ichor, and I thought I took damage. Let me just back up a little bit. We're going to take this Dragon Head, which makes it so that doing fire damage will sometimes make enemies pop with extra damage. We engage combat with another group. I mean, realistically, once you get in-depth to this game's weapon customization, the possibilities are almost endless. And that's before we talk about what happens as you continue to upgrade your weapons. My Shatterflesh can continuously get leveled up until it hits level 14, or 16, I think. 14 allows access to a final augment. And as you level up your weapons, you'll see... Let me go back to a different one. As you level up your weapon, you will see different augment slots begin to open up the higher level it is. The first augment being just something that you borrow from a different weapon, like the Butchering, the Knell, the Frost Fangs. And where the magic really starts to happen is when all of this comes together, right? You go down the augmentation list and you get access to 3 lesser augments. These lesser augments are just passive benefits that your weapon gets. Like for me, I have crit power, I have head hunting, and I have cold damage. You have more crit damage. When the more enemies you kill in a horde increases your physical damage, and your cold damage off of the blizzard gets increased by, 6%. Now, level 14 is where these weapons start to get ridiculous, because that is when you can put a third weapons augment on the weapon of your choosing. Now, if I knew the Shatterflesh existed before I went doing my leveling crusade, as you can tell by some of the things that aren't just level 1, it would be a 14, and I could show you. But for right now, take my word for it, because it's just amazing, the capabilities. It truly just does not end. It is a wonderful experience that you only really get to enjoy to the fullest when you get to take the seat and really start to deep dive into it. Remember, this is only the first stage that I'll be walking you through for right now. If you want to see more videos about this game, maybe, you know, we could do live streams where it's just more of a hangout type of session where I just kind of progress at my pace and, you know, we can just kind of explore this game more together. That is part of where the magic really is for me personally. I know I've said magic a few times, but this will be the last time, I swear. I love a game where I can sit down, I can kind of play it mindlessly for a little bit whenever I've had a hard day or whenever I just want to take a moment and rest, play something I love, just a hack and slash with blood, with gore, with amazing combat flow. This is the game for me, and hopefully the game for you as well. Remember, this game is a solo dev project. This game is only made by one individual, and it has a built-in roadmap if you go to the pause menu. And again, these are a little outdated, and he's admitted that, or these are a little outdated, and they've admitted that. But just look, the next update will get new weapon improvements, new items, more monsters, and a whole new playable character that's not just the lightning guy we start off with. This is one of my favorite hack and slashes that's currently out right now, and I cannot wait to watch this game grow and develop as time passes. Because I will tell you right now, my support will be there 100%. And each of these stages have multiple layers. Like, for instance, if you enter the cathedral and you come here to this part of it, you get to access the catacombs of this cathedral. And after just a little bit of pretending like you're Thor, in some ways, quite literally, you can start to move over to where these nodes are. And these areas are vast, they're wonderful. They're a little linear, but again, this is a solo dev, so I'm okay with it. But I mean, look down here. This is just one expansive area. Up there is the other side of it. And some of the other nodes behind me. And down here is a recent addition that I can show you real quick before we get too far. If you like challenging yourself, this area is the spot for you too. Because this is an arena that you can come down and spend E-Core to participate in. I wouldn't recommend doing this until you actually maxed out the weapons that you like, because, you know, you are liable to lose some. To lose a little bit more than you gain back from this. But when you first come down here, there's a gentleman down here who initiates the first fights. And he offers you a weapon called the Veil Render. Now, I have this doing fire and ice, but when you swing it, it leaves behind these tears in reality that inflict cold damage, as well as the on-hit heat just from my weapon itself, thanks to the customizing of my passives. Again, this game is fantastic. The time that I've put in it, I was more than happy to do so, in finding all the little secrets that I found so far, because I definitely haven't found them all yet. The little secrets, the hidden weapons, the community insight from some of the other people who love this game too. You have the build promoting from different channels. I mean, there's just so much this game has to offer, and it's barely halfway done. This is a game that I think, if you like hack and slashes, and if you like the combat of... This is one of those games that if you like hack and slashes and you like what you saw, I believe it is an extremely worthwhile purchase. But with that in mind, I'm going to let this video end here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know. If there's certain videos you want to me to do, or maybe new games you want me to check out, let me know in the comments down below. But until next time, you guys have been awesome. I've been Spec War. Stay safe, take care, and be kind. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.